Yes.
Shoot, what happened? All right. All right. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and start. Awesome. Oh, Jean, what a great picture. I love the horse picture. That's cool. Okay, so let's see.
It's not going through.
All right, so welcome in everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me. I know there's other people trying to get in, and we're having technical difficulties.
I know.
I wish I knew how to fix that. So because obviously you guys got in, so.
Yeah, I have you on my iPhone, but I tried the desktop and it's just circling and circling.
Oh. I'm on a desktop now and it let me write in.
Okay,
Yeah.
I made it.
So
I'm
Rhonda
on
made it in, that's good.
I
Is that
made
good?
it.
Pardon?
It finally let me in.
Okay, are you on a laptop or a phone or what?
My iPhone.
Oh, okay.
I had to copy and paste it in the search. It wouldn't let me go in on my Zoom.
Yeah, that's what I had to do.
I don't know. Well, I'll
Yeah,
just go
I'm
ahead
like-
and get started. We're recording now anyway. So
Oh,
today we're gonna get ready to call the tooth fairy because you're about to lose your sugar tooth. So I'm gonna go over, well, let me go ahead and go to my agenda. So we've got some shout outs and some welcomes. Death by sugar. I'll discuss the glycemic index a little bit. We'll go over some good carbs and bad carbs and how they can turn to sugar. And then we'll go over some label reading on sugars. We'll talk a little bit about gluten. We'll talk a little bit about dairy. And the whole point of this topic this week is really to start creating new associations with all these things. We're asking you to give up sugar. We're asking you to give up, the breads and the dairies and the cheese and all the things that we've enjoyed for pretty much our whole life. So if we start to think about these foods in a different light with a different perspective, hopefully they won't be as desirable, if that makes any sense. So Jane, I figured you'd appreciate this one. This one's actually from Jane. She sent me this in a text and I thought it was so funny. So I wanted to share it with you. Usually I like to start out with a funny, and it was just, this is my second attempt to make a protein shake and I can't figure out what the heck I'm doing wrong. I just thought that was cute. All right, so we got some shout outs. We've got Richard, who's down 19 pounds. Congratulations, Richard. Joy, she's fairly new. She's down 12 pounds. Bill is down 26 pounds. Awesome, yes. And Amy's down 9 pounds. And then I just would like to say welcome to some new people. We've got Regina, Deborah, Christine, another Tammy, Suliko, Joanne, Richard, Craig, and Nicole. So welcome to everybody.
And Mary.
And Mary, I think I said you last week, but welcome, Mary. Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's just dive right in. Let's see. All right. All right, so what's going on in the body when we consume sugar? So the first one that came up was inflammation. And, is not all inflammation is bad. Sometimes we actually kind of need it. It can fight off foreign invaders, and it can also help heal injury. So not all inflammation is bad. However, the start of anything, the start of any kind of pain, disease, problems in the body, all begins with inflammation. And then what happens is sugar changes the types and the amounts of the bacteria in the gut, and the overgrowth of the gut, overgrowth of the bacteria that produces inflammation grows in the gut. So it obviously, we're going to talk about that. It's bad for the gut. However, it does cause inflammation. It can also help minimize the existing, or cutting sugar can minimize the existing of already inflamed areas of the body. So as we start cutting sugar, your inflammation can go down. Like I said, inflammation is the start of a lot of things. So we start cutting our sugars, you're really starting to cut out the effects of what those sugars are leading to. Some of the, let's see, inflammation can be caused or can cause a long list of disorders: arthritis, asthma, atherosclerosis, cancers, diabetes, and mental illness. So we don't want to do that. Diabetes, excuse me 1 second. All right. All right, diabetes, this is probably not a surprise to a lot of you, but as you know, when we eat a lot of sugars, it raises our insulin levels, and our insulin levels go up. It tells the body to store back fat. But what happens when we consume sugar, those sugars have to go into the cells. And when they don't, they wreak havoc in the body, cause problems in the heart. It can cause some heart disease. It can cause a blindness or vision. It can cause problems in the kidneys, and it can cause circulations. And those are all symptoms of diabetes. So we want to definitely make sure, but every time we consume sugars, we need insulin to get it into the cell. It cannot go into the cell without the insulin. So if we are eating a lot of sugar, there's not enough insulin to go around to get the sugar into the cell. Now it's running rampant and causing all of those problems. So we definitely want to make sure that we don't do that. Diabetes type 2 can be preventable. Once it goes so far and your blood sugars are way out of whack, it's a lot harder. But if you're pre-diabetic or in the early stages, you're in the right place, because this program will really, really, really help with that. Heart disease. So the increased blood pressure that sugar can cause, it depletes the ATP cells' energy stores, which can cause blood vessel constriction. When the blood vessels are constricted, the heart has to work so much harder to get the blood through that tiny little tube, that tiny little lumen. So it can't get, but so that means the blood pressure has to go up to do that, and that is not good for your heart. Cancers. One of cancer's favorite foods is sugar. And I learned this when I was in my vitamin store. Someone was telling me that one of my customers had come in, and she said that if you put like a cancer cell under the microscope and then you put sugar near it, you can actually see the cancer trying to go eat it, and it will consume it, and it grows from that. So by eliminating sugars as much as humanly possible, you're lowering your risk for certain cancers. Another thing cancers really like is vitamin C. However, what cancer doesn't know is vitamin C will actually oxidize the cancer and kill the cancer. My sister, when she had her cancer, she went to Germany for some therapies, and she did the cancer IV therapy, and she's alive and well today, and it's been probably 8 or 10 years now. But she had the cancer IV therapy where they're putting it directly into her system. Obesity, as you guys know, when we eat sugar, it raises our insulin levels, and insulin is one of your fat storage hormones. We can diet and exercise and diet and exercise and diet and exercise. But if that fat storage hormone is constantly up here, it's really, really difficult to lose weight. Sugar literally tells your body to store fat. It puts your body in a fat storage mode. It makes it really difficult. So when I look at sugar, I just look at that, that's going to make me fat. And I also have an association with that. So it makes it easier to not eat. Do I like sweet things? Oh, yes, I do. I've got a terrible sugar tooth, but there's some sugar substitutes, which I'll talk about in a minute. Also, acne and other skin conditions, reducing your sugar intake can lower that risk. The sugars are toxic for the body, and sometimes when there's too much sugar going on, there's too many toxins, it shows up on our skin. And then ages, and they're advanced glycation end products. And this is, I talked about this the other day, but this is pretty motivating for me. And, you know, as we get older, we start to get concerned about wrinkles and all of that sort of stuff. So just like if we were to cut an apple in half or peel a banana and leave it sit on the counter, after a little while it oxidizes and it turns brown. So the same thing is going on in the body. When we have that sugar, it's oxidizing from the inside, but it literally shows up on the outside of the body. It not only accelerates wrinkles, but it also makes them deeper and more visible. So for me, you're literally aging your body from the inside, but it will also show up on the outside. So people that eat really clean, that don't eat a lot of added sugars, are going to do a lot better with their wrinkling process and their aging process. So keep that in mind every time you're tempted to have a dessert. So let's talk about some different carbohydrates. All of the, we've got on your macronutrients, you've got carbohydrates, you've got fats, and you've got proteins. Carbohydrates are the only group that really have the ability to raise those blood sugars. Not all carbohydrates are bad, not all of them are good. So let's dive into that a little bit. So here's a list of carbs. And so some of the good carbs, as you know, brown rice, wild rice also, quinoa, lentils, split peas, yams, beets, peas, winter squash like butternut squash, acorn squash, spaghetti squash. Those are all winter squashes. Those I would put in the carb category. And also fruit is in the carb category. Fruit is a simple carb, where brown rice and quinoa, those are more complex carbs. And they don't turn to sugar as fast in your body as like the fruit will. Simple carbs go fat, you turn to sugar faster. Now, as you know, yams, you want to stick to a half a cup of a serving for any of your carbs, even if it's a bad carb, so to speak. You still really try to stick to a half a cup, because it's going to serve you. Because the more you eat of already high glycemic food, carbohydrate, the quicker you spike those insulin levels up. So some of the carbs that do spike your insulin levels, like bread's not necessarily sweet, but it turns instantly into sugar in your body, especially like a white bread or wheat bread. Anything made with white or wheat flour, especially in America, it's all so highly processed. It just turns to sugar immediately. Obviously, sweets, cakes, dinner rolls, anything with added sugars, potatoes, particularly like baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, those are going to spike your blood sugars. Corn, also not great. Most corn is genetically modified, but it's very starchy and it turns to sugar quickly in the body. As far as the glycemic index goes, if you're not sure if something is high glycemic or not, I just kind of go to Google and I ask, what is the glycemic index of a beets? Well, let's just do it in real time. Let's just do it real time. So what you want is something under 55. If it's 55 to 70, it's considered medium glycemic. If it's over 70, it's high glycemic. Immediately tells your body to store fat, run for the hills, don't get it. So beets are, I think, in the medium. Let's go see. What is the glycemic index of beets?
According to Livestrong.com, beets are a root vegetable high in nutrients and phytochemicals. They contain high levels of folate, manganese, and potassium and are a good source of fiber. Unfortunately, beets rate moderately high on the glycemic index with a rating of 64.
64. 64. So that's a medium. So that would be a sometimes food. So if that's something that you're having all the time, really make sure that you're staying in that half a cup serving. And no more than 2 servings of carbs per day, as you know. Okay, so when you're
How
looking
much is a serving?
a half a cup.
Half a cup? Okay.
Yes. So if you have, if like Mary, I think that was Mary who said that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now you're probably not having fruit yet because you're fairly new.
Right.
Once you even bring the fruit back, the fruit, because it's a simple carb, I would say stick to 1 serving of the fruit a day. But if you have, like, say you have half a cup of berries for breakfast and then half a cup of brown rice at lunch, that's it. You're done for the day with all of your carbs. Or if you had, some beets in your salad or whatever the case is, that's it. That's a serving, or as long as it's not more than half a cup. But if you're having beets here and wild rice there or lentils, only 2 servings of carbs per day, up to 2. Some people don't eat any carbs. Sometimes I go without them, but there's some carbs in vegetables, just they're very low. So, and they won't spike your blood sugars, most vegetables. Beets are, again, a little on the higher, as we learned. So this is nutrition facts, this thing on the left. And what I believe that it's showing me is the old label, how it used to be. And I believe it was 2016 where they changed the rules on it. So they have to put added sugars. They can't just put sugars and leave it alone, although I still see it, but they are required. They're supposed to, as you can see it on the right, it says total sugars 12, and then includes 10 grams of added sugars. That's a lot of added sugars. And you can even see that it's 20%. So when you're reading your labels, anything 20% or more is considered a high source of that thing. And since that thing happens to be sugar, we don't want that thing. We don't want a high source. If it's below 5%, it would be considered a low source of that thing. And when it comes to sugar, we want it to be low. Now, if it's vitamins, we want a high source. If it's protein, we might want a higher source. But on sugars, obviously, we don't want a higher source. And because it says 20%, that would consider this a high sugar, a higher source of sugar. And so when you're looking at your labels, so let's look at carbohydrates. So you got your carbohydrates. It has total carbohydrates, 37 grams. 4 of those 37 grams are fiber. The good news is your body does not absorb fiber, so you don't count that. So now we're left with 33 grams of total carbohydrates, since we're going to minus out the fiber. You would also minus out sugar alcohols if the product lists it there. If it has a sugar alcohol, it's supposed to tell you, because some people don't do well with sugar alcohols. So, but it'll tell you that. So if it had, say, 3 grams of sugar alcohols, you would take the 3 from the now 33, and it would have total 30 net carbs. I hope I made sense. Did that make sense? So when you're looking at total carbohydrates, it's giving you the total 37, but it has 4 grams of fiber. You minus that out. If it had sugar alcohols, you'd minus that out too, and that would give your net carbs. But carbs is not the end all be all. We want to know how much sugar, because that is the enemy. That is the stuff causing the cancers and the obesity and the high blood pressure and the diabetes and the aging. That's the stuff we want to avoid. I'm not really sure why I put these Pop-Tarts here. Other than it has 19 sugars, 19 sugars. Now, if you do some math, let's round that up to 20 for easy math. For every 4 grams, that's a teaspoon. So this has about 4 teaspoons per Pop-Tart. So imagine taking 4 teaspoons of sugar and just consuming that. So anything with 4 grams of added sugar, every 4 grams is a teaspoon. So this nutrition facts, this thing that's 230 calories. So you notice they had to put the calories bigger as well on the newer labels. But yeah, 4 grams of sugar will equal 1 teaspoon. So just for examples, I mean, I know you guys aren't consuming, yogurts and sodas and Starbucks and all that stuff, but this is the stuff I grew up with. This is the stuff I've had many, many times before I stopped eating that stuff. But like the Starbucks that has almost 8 teaspoons of sugar, the Coke has almost 10 teaspoons of sugar. The Yoplait has almost 5 teaspoons of sugar. And, those things are really small. So this is just a lot of sugar. Now, we like the Rayo's marinara sauce. We like it because it doesn't have any added sugars. Now, it does have sugars in it on this Rayo's nutrition label, but tomatoes have naturally occurring fructose in them because tomatoes are a fruit, technically. They're very low sugar, but marinara sauce is primarily tomatoes anyway, right? That's its base. So they have to put the sugars from the tomatoes, but it has 0 added sugars. So this product is actually an excellent product. I would certainly consume this product. Very low in carbohydrates and very low in sugars and 0 added sugars. So I would definitely consume that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about dairy. So one of the things about dairy, it has artery clogging saturated fat. It also will increase your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. That is the cholesterol that brings the cholesterol to your arteries and veins and stacks it up and coats those veins. And when they're coated, it kind of shrinks it so that the blood pressure has to go up to push through what is, again, now a smaller tube. It's a smaller tube with all that extra added cholesterol. So this is not something you want. You want your HDL, which is the good cholesterol, which actually pulls the cholesterol away from the arteries and veins and brings it to the liver for the liver to get rid of. So the HDL is good, but the LDLs are bad. Obviously, it can increase your risk for heart disease and also can increase mucus. When I eat dairy, I can feel it in my sinuses and it makes it harder to breathe through my nose. But in 75% of the population does have a lactose intolerance or a dairy sensitivity, which is another reason why we've taken you off. We're off of gluten, dairy, and sugars, a lot of red meat and legumes. But I wanted to go over some of the reasons as to why. If you go dairy free, you will have clearer skin. A lot of breakouts are also due to dairy. There's a lot of hormones in dairy. I mean, I was looking at researching this morning. There are lots and lots of different hormones in the dairy, stuff that they're giving the cows to make them grow, all kinds of that stuff. Antibiotics also in those cows. The hormones that goes in the cows can produce inflammation. As we know, inflammation can be a big fat problem. And it also can improve improve. Increase your risks for certain cancers, these hormones. So really want to stay away from, especially any dairy that's not from a grass-fed cow. Dairy can cause IBS, bloating, digestive disruptions. It can also increase weight gain because it increases the IGF in the body. Let's see. And dairy is also a simple sugar. As I mentioned, fruit is a simple sugar. Dairy is also a simple sugar, which means that the lactose, the sugar in dairy, will spike your blood sugars a little bit more quickly than the complex carbohydrates. Going dairy-free can also reduce your risk for cancers, certain cancers. So going dairy-free is definitely a good idea. And you know, the food pyramid, that thing we grew up with, which is just terribly upside down, really. They recommend, I think it's 2 to 4 servings a day, every day. And the only thing milk is good for is a baby calf. That's who it's healthy for. So anyways, all right, so let's go into the gluten. Gluten
Oh,
stuff.
I have a question. So instead of dairy, you go with like almond milk and those kind of things?
Yeah, I use an unsweetened. You want to go with ones who have a fewer amount of ingredients and chemically things, but definitely the word unsweetened it's almost always in pink, but I go with unsweetened almond milk or unsweetened coconut milk. I put it in my Ticino and it just makes it nice and creamy. I think the coconut milk's a little creamier, and cashew milk is creamier too. Again, you want to just go unsweetened, organic when you can find it. All right, so gluten can cause, not everybody has a problem with dairy, not everybody has a problem with gluten, but a lot of people do. So this is basically, an elimination diet. So we get rid of all the stuff that are likely to cause havoc in the body and havoc in the digestive system. Not everybody has celiac. Celiac is one of those diseases. If you have celiac, you know it. You can't eat gluten. You will have a very bad abdominal pain. It actually destroys some of the tissues in the gut and it can cause permanent problems. So you really, really got to stay away from that. Let's see. It can trigger autoimmune diseases, which is really bad. Arthritis, fibromyalgia, stuff like that. Again, it can also increase inflammation in the gut and in the body. Again, the gluten can bring, I guess it's like an allergy. There's some people do have a sensitivity or an allergy to gluten. If you don't have celiac, you might have that sensitivity or allergy. Again, can bring a stuffiness and a runny nose, sinus issues, that sort of stuff. And also digestive disruptions. So as you're coming off of all these dairies and glutens, you might notice that your gut does improve quite a bit. Oops. Let's go back. So let's see. So what has gluten in it? And this is, what has gluten in is things you want to avoid. Obviously, we're asking you not to have any alcohol, but if you do, make sure it's not a beer because beer is high in gluten. Obviously, your wines are going to have some sugars, so those two, stay away from those. But breads, bulgur wheat, cake, pies, cereals, cookies, crackers, barley. Barley's very high. It's one of my favorites. I love barley, but it's very high in gluten. Rye, wheat, pastas, durum, spelt, lunch meat, and hot dogs. What we can enjoy is quinoa, brown rice, wild rice, millet, flax, buckwheat, even though it has wheat in its name, it's still okay, it's gluten-free, and cassava root. So cassava flour, coconut flour, almond flour, those kinds of flours are going to be lower glycemic. They're going to have a lower glycemic number. They're going to be gluten-free. So those will be the preferred flours to bake with or byproducts that are made with. After about 12 weeks, we do like you to stay off all of these processed flours because they, excuse me, they're just that, they're a bit processed. They're a better choice over the gluten flour, but they're still processed on some level, so. Anyway, that is that. Does anybody have any questions? I've put my new email here. If you guys don't already know it, you can just take a screenshot with your phone if you like. Also, this tammy.drinfantino.com. That's the scheduling link. You can just go there and schedule your coaching sessions. The manual's in there. You can even fill out your check-in sheet on that website, and you can even fill out journal pages on that website too. So, does anybody have any questions? Anybody have anything coming up that they're wanting to brainstorm on?
Oh yeah, I have something. My next 3 days of the detox, they're like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And on that Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to Las Vegas for a birthday party. And I mean, I could not go, but I want to go. Can I back that up and do it on
You
like
absolutely can, yes.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
So just start it earlier. And is this your second cleanse or your first one?
Second, it's 3 days.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so just start it early, get it done with, or wait till you come back and do it when you come back.
Okay,
Just enjoy yourself, you know.
yeah, all right.
I mean, you want to stay on program so you don't disrupt the gut and eat a bunch of, dairy and gluten and sugars.
Well, I will take things with me to Las Vegas because they have the worst food over there. I mean, in their casinos and stuff, they don't have
Yeah.
very good food. Some of the restaurants are good, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you travel, just think in terms of proteins and veggies. So when you're looking at a menu, okay, I'll have the chicken dinner, the fish dinner. It comes with a baked potato, just get extra vegetables instead of whatever starch. It's usually white rice or rice pilafs. Those are basic rices. Or Spanish rice, it's still rice. So be careful with those. It's still made from white rice. And just sub out your baked potato or your French fries or your rices for extra veggies. They're usually pretty good about it. Most restaurants will do that for you.
Yeah, as long as they don't cook them in butter.
Well, butter's not the worst one. It's the funky oils, the vegetable oils, canola oils.
Yeah.
I mean, you want butter from a grass-fed cow. I can guarantee you most of them are probably not going to use that.
Right.
But butter is that's the one dairy we're allowed to have on this program. And once in a while, it's okay. It is saturated, again, artery clogging if we're eating butter all day, obviously, that's not great, but. Anybody else? Great question. So yeah, you guys can move. It's starting to be vacation season. So if you think you need to be in an airport or traveling during your cleanse, move it forward or back to accommodate your schedule. Anybody else?
I don't know if you can answer this one, but if you have the therapies every once a week and you do like 3 things and it was set at the beginning what they were, can you change and drop one and add another one in? Or is that something I have to talk to the office about?
You better talk to the office. Because every time I'd answer a question like that, I'd get in trouble. Why did you tell them they could do that? When I always think they can do that. So I think you can do that, but don't quote me. Ask the office what their policy is on that.
Okay.
I'm
And
gonna
then
say
you-
probably yes, though, because certain people just can't go on the whole body vibration if they've got, you know, pins or things in their body that could shake and get loose, you know, things of that nature. So yeah, see what you can do to just add something else later.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? Well, thank you guys all for coming. I really appreciate you showing up and your questions and comments and participation. I always love that. And feel free to message me if you have any ideas on topics that you would like me to go over. I believe next week we'll be talking about how to create new and good habits. You know, we know what to do sometimes, but we can't just seem to do it. It's, I don't get it done. I don't get it done. Why didn't I get it done? Because it's not a habit yet. So next week we'll be talking about steps and ways to create new habits and ways to make that easy so that doing these new things becomes our new normal. So that will be kind of our topic next week. And then I think I'm going to do a 2-part or 3-part series on fitness. I'm not sure if it's going to be 2 or 3, but either way, that'll be what's on the docket coming up. But if you guys have something you're really excited to learn that I haven't gone over, by all means, share that with me, because I always feel like I'm repeating myself, but you guys are new also. And so I do need to do that as you cycle through. So anyway,
All new to me.
what's that? It's all new to
It's
you?
all new to me.
Well, good, good. I mean, and sometimes in repetition is mother of mastery. So obviously I'll do a whole thing on label reading. So I talked a little bit about that today. It was a little bit of a repeat from the label reading course, but you know, I only hit that once every 3 months. So we need to kind of dig in and learn some of these things repeatedly. So
I had to stop to let my pest control guy come and spray in the garage and out back. And I missed the one question I had is when you went through the carbohydrate label, why do we subtract the fiber? Because I thought
your
fiber is
body
good for
doesn't
us.
absorb it. So
Okay.
you will poop out 100% of it. So you're consuming it, but your body isn't going to get it. Your body
Okay.
isn't going to keep it. So we don't have to count it. So if you're the kind of person who's counting her carbs, then if I'm going to eat a carb, if I'm looking at a product, I try to stay no more than 20. So if a product is much more than 20, I'm going to call it high carb and not pick that, most likely.
Right. Okay, so
Unless
the
I
fiber,
know I've got
but it's
really,
not a nutrition. Yeah, okay, I got it. I got it.
that makes sense. And the same with the sugar alcohols, you minus those out too, because your body will not absorb those either. It just goes
Yeah, I
through.
caught that. What was the topic for next week? I missed that.
It's based on the book Atomic Habits. So we'll be learning
Oh,
how to create new habits and different ways to make doing what we need to do easier for us. So
okay.
basically we're going to learn how to set ourselves up for a win. Because we're
Good
asking
pattern.
to do a whole bunch of new things and that's not how I used to do it. That's not how I normally, well, this is how I've always done it like this. So that's obviously just habits. I've always eaten dinner at night. Well, sometimes the other day I had a salmon and broccoli for breakfast. So it's just, you know, being open to new ideas is one of them, but
Okay.
eating salmon for breakfast might be a weird thing, but it worked out.
No, think about it. You have lox, you know.
Right,
And I
right.
like leftovers, so it wouldn't bother me.
Perfect. Yeah, well, that's what it was. I had so much proteins in there and I'm like, I need to go through those rather than opening up another egg.
And then one other question, someone asked about the almond milk. I didn't know okay, I'm at day 44. Am I allowed to use that a little bit? I
About
didn't
what?
think almond milk or,
Yes,
sweetened. I'm allowed?
yes, unsweetened.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Oh, we can use
unsweetened
that now.
coconut, unsweetened almond, or
Yeah.
unsweetened cashew. I would stay
Yep.
away from soy milk and oat milk.
No, yeah, okay. All right.
And what was that? You put your almond milk in some drink that you drink? Tea
So it's Ticino. I'm gonna write it so you can see the spelling of it.
Okay.
It's
Nope.
Ticino, Teeccino, and it's basically a coffee substitute. There's no coffee in it. The reason why you're off coffee is because of its acidity in the gut, whether it's decaf or not decaf, doesn't really matter because it's very acidic for the gut. People think, oh, I'll just have a decaf. No, it's still acidic for the gut. However, this product, and there's different flavors. So if you go to teeccino.com, there's just
Can you
hazelnut,
spell it again?
Teeccino.
Spell it one more. T-E-E.
It's
And
delicious.
made primarily from mushrooms and herbs. And they have different, and it's gut friendly. And the mushrooms are like lion's mane, or the herbs are things like ashwagandha, or just all good health benefits without all the acidity in the gut. Lion's mane, great for the brain, turkey tail, and just different ones that are for your immune, your brain, your energy levels, that's a naturally occurring energy booster without any caffeine.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Sounds good. I need something else to
Yeah,
have.
so you can, I found it also at Sprouts, if you have a Sprouts near you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Amazon has it.
Amazon.
Amazon.
Does it? Okay.
Yep.
I just ordered 3.
Oh, good.
They're good.
They are.
Wow. I gotta
So I'm
get
like, thank you, Tami.
Oh, happy day, right?
Yes.
All right.
Awesome. All right, anybody else?
No, thank you.
You
Thanks
are welcome. You guys have a fabulous rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you all next time.
You too.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Okay, bye-bye.